doing, buddy?
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. A pleasure, Stephen. An absolute pleasure. Welcome to the Line Grooms. Guys, you are from the Orient Outlook podcast.
Yes.
Tell us briefly about the podcast that you do, Paul.
So we set up the podcast predominantly through Steve's idea about 3 years ago. There wasn't one at the time, so when I think you initially came up with the idea, but then 3 sprouted up, and I said, "Oh, there's no point doing it now. There's 3 others," but Steve was like, "No, we're going to do it, and it's going to be good and fine." So I said, "Okay, fine, we'll do it." Our wives weren't overly impressed or particularly happy with it.
Still aren't, to be fair.
Yeah, well, they still hate the fact that you do a podcast.
Absolutely,
Yeah, still takes up a bit of time, but we love it, we enjoy it, and it's personally, it's brought me closer to the club and made me take a much broader view at what goes on, and there's obviously things that go on that people get to know about, and it's interesting to be able to put people's views across and be able to collate all of that and put it out in one podcast.
It's also great because we really focus on engaging with other fans. So we've met loads of great Orient fans through it, we've met fans of other clubs.
Yeah.
We get to, engage on Twitter, Facebook, on email, and it's really important to us, and that's what drives the podcast.
Yeah.
So any Leyton Orient fans watching FANTV right now, if they want to follow you, if they want to hear the podcast, how can they find it?
You can find it on iTunes, you can find it on SoundCloud, we're on Twitter at Orient Outlook, we're on Facebook at Orient Outlook, on Instagram at Orient Outlook Podcast.
Well, I'm on Twitter, I love it, I can't get enough, I'm addicted to the thing.
Yeah,
so at Orient Outlook, I'll give you a follow later on.
Absolutely.
Now, I've done my research today, I've done my notes, so you have to forgive me, because the last I looked, Barry Hearn was the chairman of your club.
We wish Barry Hearn was still the chairman of the club.
Okay, well, let's start with that. So you now got Italian owners, I understand.
Yes.
What's been the turning point, or what's changed since Barry Hearn has left, and why do you still wish that Barry Hearn was in charge of the purse strings?
Barry Hearn left.
Have we got enough time? Have you got enough time?
Good point.
Yeah, we've got some time. We've got time.
Barry Hearn left a League One club on the cusp of the Championship, a playoff final, and 2 and a bit years later, we are 20th in League Two. All that team from League One have disappeared. We've got a completely different squad, different mood, different board, completely different atmosphere at the club. It's just been a pretty poor 2 years, I'd say.
It's been a tough downward spiral, because when Barry sold it to the new owner, Barry had been looking to sell it for quite some time, and he'd been approached by a number of people but had discounted them because he didn't just want to sell it and run away and just leave us in a real poor state.
Because he loves the club, doesn't he, Barry?
Yeah, he's a genuine Orient fan as well, which is great. So he was very careful about who he sold it on to, and unbeknown to us, the new owner was apparently at Wembley in the playoff final that unfortunately we lost on penalties. It's still quite painful for us.
Yeah.
To talk
Okay.
It's
tough.
We're not bitter.
Yeah.
It's all right, baby. It's all right. It's okay.
So, thanks. So essentially, he sold it to this Italian businessman, was super wealthy, so we end up... we had Russell Slade still as manager at the start of the 14-15 season. We signed quite a few big-name players. We had Jay Simpson, Joby McAnuff, Darius Henderson... Shane Lowry came in.
So to be fair to Bichetti, he put his money out, and on paper they were all great signings.
Yeah.
And they all pretty much failed miserably apart from a few.
We're going to launch our first Twitter poll of the night, and after that I want to come back to Russell Slade, because of course when Russell Slade left, that was after the League One playoff final.
Yeah, that was a couple of games into Bichetti's first season.
Okay.
We've interviewed Russell Slade, so if you do want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to the Russell Slade interview.
Okay, not the start to the season everyone expected. You're sitting 20th at the moment. You've lost 6 games already. What's gone wrong, Paul?
Where'd you start? We've had a change of manager. We're only in October. We've just hit mid-October, and we've already lost 1 manager, so we're on to our 2nd manager. There are reasonably sort of well-founded and reports of interference from the owner in terms of who plays in the team on certain days, that the management team are not left to do what they want to do, as they should be. It creates disharmony in the team and around the players and around the training ground. So there's probably a lot more that goes on that you don't know about, but effectively we've had quite a high turnover of managers, including caretakers. We've been through 8 now, I think, on to our 8th. And the new man, albeit has managerial experience, he can't speak any English at the moment, so it's all being done through a translator. So
it's not ideal.
It's far from ideal.
I mean, to be fair to him, we were playing pretty poor football. Start of the season, very hoofball, Andy Hessenthaler, long ball. So the new guys come in, like you said, can't speak the language, but seems to be wanting to play a passing game. And he's only played 2 games so far. One was an EFL Trophy game that really to Orient isn't a big deal.
Sure.
And we lost to Portsmouth at the weekend.
He does, of course, speak the owner's language.
He does.
So I would imagine that's significant. And do you think maybe the most significant thing that he speaks the language of the owner?
You'd probably say so. I mean, Kasavin, our new manager, he's managed various Italian clubs. He was last at Sampdoria and got them relegated 5 years ago. He's given a few interviews, not in English, through a translator, so obviously he can communicate with the board.
Yeah.
I think it will help as well that he understands the culture that the owner comes from. So if anything, it will probably, it might help. It didn't help under Fabio Liverani, but, you know, this guy with many more years' experience, you know, you hear good and bad about him from previous players that have been under him and so on. So he's said the right things. You know, he doesn't want the ball to go above the knee. It's all got to be played on the floor, which would be a marked difference from what we've been seeing. You know, in the summer, Andy Hessenthaler brought in players like Robbie Weir, Liam Kelly, Jordan Bowery, Tom Parks, all Callum Kennedy, all players that have got promotions on their CV from last season.
Yes.
You know, we've got a littering of quality players, and yet we're going Route 1. So,
well, you made over 10 new signings in the summer. 10 new signings. Is it too many new players? Is that a problem, do you think?
You could say yes or no. I mean, yes, it's a big turnover, but the quality we brought in, like Paul said, experienced players, all were promoted out of League Two.
Yeah.
A few captains from other clubs. So Liam Kelly was Oldham captain last year in the league above. We managed to keep Jay Simpson.
They have to gel, though, Stephen, don't they? It was all well and good bringing in quality individuals, but they have to gel.
They have to gel. But at the same time, you know, everyone was really excited about the season. Everyone thought we'd be up there, and like you said, we find ourselves 20th in League Two. And I think the most disappointing fact is that, again, the players seem a bit lacklustre when they go out. They seem to play for the shirt. They lose. And, you know, you just want to see people sweat and go into challenges and play for your club. And if you don't see that, that's what gets people's.
Strange decision for Hessenthaler to go, though, wasn't it? That was a.
Not really when you look at it on the balance of play. We weren't playing nice football.
Sure.
We weren't winning football. It's different if you're winning football matches, you kind of buy yourself a bit more time, but we weren't.
Yeah.
The players didn't look very interested. They didn't look like they were particularly well drilled.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think they look all that fit, to be honest, either. So I question potentially what's going on there. We'd start off games really well, wouldn't we? 10, 15 minutes.
10 minutes of an Orient
we'd
match.
Be all right.
The Orient dominate the match, and if they don't get the first goal within that time, they kind of heads drop. But that's Hessenthaler, maybe not the right appointment at the time. It did seem to split a lot of fans because he'd been assistant manager the previous season before. But fair play to Bichetti, it wasn't working out. There were calls for Hessenthaler's head, not many. And, you know, under Bichetti, if you don't perform, you're gone. And that's what he does.
We've got our first Skype caller of the night. If you'd like to Skype us, FANTV channel is the Skype. I think we've got a Hull City fan. Peter, are you there, baby?
Yeah, good evening to you, Justin. How are you?
I'm all the better for us. I can't see the top of your red, Pete. Are you sitting on a... We're missing the top of your red. Are you sitting on a bar stool? Is it one of those gas ones? Can you drop down a little bit? Or are you sitting on somebody's shoulders?
Yeah.
Oh, that's much better. How you doing, Pete?
Sorry, how are you?
All the better for speaking to you. If I could have Pete's volume up on the floor, that'd be great. I can't hear you very well. Phelan signed a 5-year contract, new contract. Pete, are you happy with that?
Yeah, at long last, it's been a huge wait, and I think there are still questions around why it's taken so long. It's a huge relief to him, I would think, but at the same time, it's a bit strange because he's been appointed as head coach, which is very, very interesting indeed, rather than a permanent manager. The implication being that perhaps we're looking to get a director of football in, something like that.
Right.
But given that Steve Bruce departed largely because it seems the current vice chairman wanted to have too much dabbling in matters on the pitch.
Sure.
And a role in transfer policy, it's a slightly confused situation still. So, I mean, you know, first of all, a huge welcome to Mike Phelan formally as part of Hull City AFC, and we wish him all the very best. But still a lot of unanswered questions at the KCOM, I think.
Well, doesn't it make the 5-year contract somewhat ridiculous, Pete?
Well, absolutely crazy, because, you know, here we are, we are on the basis of what we read and know, we are for sale and about to be sold. Now, first of all, I would say who signed the contract on behalf of the club? You know, is it the current owners? And if so, what happens if new owners come in the next 6 weeks? First of all, do they buy those liabilities as per that contract? And what if, for whatever reason, they decide that they want a different manager in? Because notoriously, as we know, new managers, new owners do like to have their own man in, don't they?
Pete, I've got to ask you your thoughts. You've mentioned him already, of course, on Steve Bruce's appointment as the new Aston Villa manager.
Yeah, I think it's a very good move for Aston Villa, first of all. I think it's a neat fit. I believe that he will stop the goals being conceded. It might not be very pretty to start with, but I think what they need is, they're on a sort of downward spiral at the moment, aren't they? And what they need is someone just to sort of take stock and steady the ship for a while and then turn it back in the right direction. And I think he's the man to do it. So it may not be as pretty as some Aston Villa fans would like, but I think he'll do a good job there.
He's got more teams promoted to the Premier League than any other manager in Premier League history. So he's got quite some CV there, Pete.
Absolutely fantastic CV in doing that. I think his ongoing frustration is that he's still to establish himself as a Premier League manager. He gets sides there very successfully, but the one thing that I'm sure he's very frustrated with, he can't establish a side in the Premier League.
Pete, very quickly, before we move on, are you not concerned as a whole City fan that he's going to raid your club come the January transfer window?
I understand he already has, in that our assistant coach, Stephen Clements, has already, got on his car and he's going up to Birmingham. And there could be more in terms of players possibly going out. And that, let's be honest about it, that's a huge worry.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pete, I heard a broomer. And I'm not talking about Bananarama, Pete, because I know you're a big Bananarama fan. You love them. What's your favourite Bananarama song, Pete?
I can't remember them, but I like
He loves them. He's obsessed with Bananarama. Cruel Summer, that's what he told me. Or perhaps Nathan Jones. Pete, let's not talk about Bananarama. It's ridiculous. Pete,
I'd rather talk about Bananarama.
Pete, the rumour is Al Mohammadi come January. What are your thoughts?
He's been a big part of our success for several years. Last season, he lost his place a little bit, and he's looked perhaps like a player who wanted to move on occasions. Having said that, it would be a huge blow to lose him.
OK, Pete, thank you so much, and thank you for lowering your stool as well.
I have to lower myself to speak to you.
Pete, we'd love you to be we'd love you to be sitting here on the lime green sofa sometime. Would you come into the studio for us?
When it's possible for me to do so, I will be very happy to do that.
OK, Pete, and would you just like to quickly give us a top Bananarama fact before you leave us?
Top banana fact, there were 3 of them.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. Pete, I love you, baby. Can't wait to see you on the lime green.
Sorry again, missed that bit.
Can't wait to see you on the lime green.
Likewise, thank you very much.
We've got a Leyton Orient tweet in. Have a look at this. First tweet of the night from Matt Bristow.
Matt Bristow.
Friend
We
of
know
yours?
Matt, yeah, great analyst, Matt. Give him a follow if you're into your stats and your football.
At Matt Bristow's a great analyst, says Stephen. Give him a follow. Here's his tweet. It's on the big screen, lovely, so I can see it with my own eyes. Problem with Orient is failure to scout and analyse opposition teams. Thanks for that, Matt. Stephen, is that fair?
I'd probably agree with that. Yep. So Matt tweets a lot. He does pre-match previews where he speaks about what he thinks is going to happen, and 9 times out of 10 we'll probably get it right, to be fair.
Yeah.
Paul, you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's very detailed. Great at looking at the finer details, like with Portsmouth, what we played last week.
Yeah.
He was spot on with all the tactics that they would probably use against us, and we didn't counter it. So
yeah.
I mean, Matt, on that tweet there, Matt's not saying bad scouting. He's saying failure to scout.
Just
it would
failure.
appear so. Yeah.
So there's no scouting going on? There must be, surely.
We'd like to think there is, but whether it happens or not is questionable.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
You'd hope so. You'd like to think that there is a scout going out to watch Oppo teams, and they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, we've got video analysts at the club, so yes, scouting does happen. Whether or not the manager takes that into a game or not and takes the advice of the analysts or not is a different story. But yeah, no, they do. There are analysts at the club. OK,
Matt, thank you so much for that tweet. If you'd like to tweet us, if you're an Orient fan, or you don't have to be, anything else football related you'd like to get involved with, it's your show, it's FANTV. That's what it's called. So tweet at FANTV UK, or if you don't have the Twitter, join in at fantv.me. excuse me, I want to talk Dean Cox.
Dino.
Yep, Dino.
Love Dean Cox.
Now, what happened with Dean Cox? Probably your best player back from injury at the start of the season, and then for some inexplicable reason, Dean Cox suddenly leaves. Why, Paul?
Yeah, if we knew...
What's the rumour?
The what?
What's the rumour?
The...
Broomer?
I'll help you out.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. What have you
That's
heard?
what we're here for. So we interviewed Dean for our podcast. I can't remember what episode it was now. About 3 or 4 episodes ago. He told us that he'd had discussions with the club management, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but he was basically saying that it was agreed that they would part ways for whatever reason.
So what happened is he came back, like you said, from injury, started the season well, scored a rare-headed goal where he leapt like a salmon and scored a superb goal.
He leapt like a salmon.
Yeah. Dean Cox against Stevenage, leapt like a salmon.
Like a salmon. Can you give us an example of that, Stephen, of leaping like a salmon?
Go on, mate.
Maybe off air. Maybe off air.
Just one cheeky little salmon leap for...
Bit like that, but much higher. I'd hit the lights if I was.
If I was a bear, I'd tickle you. Whoa, that is just like, and I might even anyway. So,
Hope so.
Beautiful.
Hope so.
If you can leap like a salmon, get in touch, FANTV channel, or tweet us at FANTV UK, hashtag leap like a salmon. We want to see it, or it didn't happen. Sorry, Stephen.
So Northampton came in for him before transfer deadline day, well publicised, wanted to buy him. Dino said, I don't want to go to Northampton, I'm not interested, which, to be fair to Dean, was his prerogative.
Yeah.
And then the day after transfer deadline day, it was announced that he had left the club in a very short statement.
By mutual consent.
By
that
mutual
famous
consent.
saying, yeah.
Well, Paul, he said, Dean Cox, he was disappointed with his treatment at Orient. Are there problems behind the scenes there? If so, what are they?
Yeah, well, no, we don't know is the honest answer. We don't truly know. The way it would be unfair of us to say, yeah, 100%, we know what's going on, because we're not in the meetings, we don't know truly. But from what we understand, there is a lot more involvement of the owner and his team than perhaps ought to be.
OK, so if you guys were in the pub right now talking about this very specific issue, you know, you can be as controversial as you like, we are totally unaffiliated to anyone. What would you be discussing in the pub on the Dean Cox issue?
Well, we'd obviously be saying we're disappointed to lose him. You know, the thing about Dean Cox, he was very active on Twitter. He felt like one of us. He was kind of the last man standing from the Slade era. He interacted with the fans. He was always approachable, signing autographs, you know, doing anything. And
the word legend is bandied about like confetti at the moment.
Sure.
And the thing about
Dean is actually, you know, considered a legend. 7-8
years at the club, highest assist in the Football League in the last couple of years at Orient, you know, fantastic servant to the club and really poorly treated. It's no surprise that
Peterborough came in for a few times with serious money for him, and he decided that he wanted to stay at Orient, and you know, with Russell Slade as bought him from Brighton, because that's the connection when Russell was at Brighton. So, you know, ostensibly he doesn't like to shift about too much. He's signed for a club now that's closer to his home and the community. He likes that side of it, but we'd love to have kept him. And he was shabbily treated in a sense that there was like 2 lines of a thanks, Dean, and all the best for the future tweet from the club. When someone that's been with you for 7 years,
it's given you so much.
It's given you so much. Yeah, it was shabby treatment.
Okay, I think we've got a friend of yours on the Skype now. I don't know if it's the same Matt that's already tweeted us, but Matt is on the Skype. I think he's got some hashtag dirty klepto talk for us as well. Matt, are you there, baby?
Hi, you're right.
I'm all right. It's not Matt Bristol. I think it's a different Matt.
That's Matt Roper.
Matt Roper, he is a friend of yours. You do know him.
Mate. Hello, mate.
Mr. Roper.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Paul.
Matt, I'm so sorry. Are you out dogging by any chance?
I'm waiting to pick my daughter up from Browning.
Never
It's the worst time.
It's just absolutely... I think I can see a Ford Cortina in the background.
No, that's not an old Ford Fiesta.
It's just outrageous. Matt, is that your lucky window I can see?
That is, mate, yeah. I haven't cleaned my car in ages.
Matt, I understand. I can see the reflection of the headlights in your glasses.
I know, yeah.
It's absolutely outrageous.
That's a really posh house. That's a really posh house.
Matt, sorry, which car park are you in exactly? We finish at 10.
I'll give you the details later, Justin. Come down later.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, Matt, what was that?
I'll give you the details later. You come down later.
OK, thank you, lovely man. Listen, if you've got to go at any time, we totally understand.
That's right, no problem at all. I'll let you know.
All right, Matt, let me... he's looking left and right. That's That's what happens when you go dogging. They're coming at you from all angles.
I know, they're everywhere.
Matt, let me ask you about the Dean Cox situation. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the guys have just said, Justin, you know, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. It was you know, the guy was, he was there, deadline day passed, and then all of a sudden you're hearing the day after that he's gone. And to have a couple of lines for a, like you say, I mean, you know, like Paul said, the word legend got bandied about. I think it's a loose term these days, but he's as close as someone you could get to a legend at Orient at the moment. Yeah, you know, and the way it was all handled, very, very, well, I was going to say very strange, but actually, for the Orient at the moment, it's probably actually quite ordinary.
Matt, are there problems behind the scenes? Let me ask the same question I asked Paul and Stephen on the cat, because there doesn't appear to be any good reason for why Dean Cox left. He said himself he was disappointed with his treatment. How poorly was he treated, do you think?
Yeah, I think he was poorly treated, and like I say, you know, like you said, behind the scenes there is, you know, Dean Cox is just one of you know, 100 different stories, rumours. Some are true, some are not necessarily proven true, but Dean Cox is just one of many problems of the last 2 years.
Has it had a big effect on the team, on the whole, and the fans in general, Matt? Would you say?
Oh yeah, I think it does. I think the fans are now. I think, you know, a good or a large percentage of the fans now are. You know, they're giving up hope. Justin, I mean, you don't have a lot of hope as an Orient fan to start with, but you know, when the club's been sort of treated the way it's been treated in the last 2 years, you know, there is. I'm not saying there's no hope left, but you know, you know, you're getting battered as an Orient fan at the moment. Let's put it that way.
Matt, there was hope though before the start of the season. A lot of people tipping you to be pushing for promotion. So, are you surprised at your current form?
A little. I think on paper we've got a decent squad. We've had some injuries. Everyone gets those. But again, I think it's symptomatic of what's going on at the club at the moment. Is that we find ourselves in the, you know, the bottom six and heading in the wrong direction. And I think that shows again that, you know, no matter what sort of squad you've got, no matter what sort of, you know, on paper or a decent team, it just shows again that if there's no stability at a club, you can go the wrong direction.
First game, of course, against Portsmouth under the new manager, Cavasan. Is that how you pronounce it, Paul? Cavasan?
So, yeah,
Cavasan?
Yeah,
that's it, yeah.
Thank you, brother. Matt, do you think he's the man? I know it was very early days, but do you think, based on what you've seen so far, I know it's only one game, but is he the man to take Leyton Orient forward?
I don't think he is. No one wants to have a go at the bloke himself. He's not. I don't think it's his fault that he's sort of caught up in the situation that is Leyton Orient at the moment. But, you know, we've got you know, with all due respect to him, we've got an Italian manager that seemingly apparently has trouble with the English language. He seemingly retired 5 years ago from Italian football after having more clubs than Jack Nicklaus. You know, and it's really, there are so many, the serious side is there's so many parallels with the appointment a couple of years ago of Liverani. You know, and I think a lot of fans will tell you that. And you know, okay, yeah, it has only been 2 games, but you know, he's in charge for the EFL Trophy game at Southend and the home game at Portsmouth. Yeah, okay, early days, 180 minutes, but he's actually had 2 games and he's lost 2. We haven't scored a goal, so you know, it's not exactly sort of something to be getting excited about. Well, let's talk about the next game. You've got Luton, I think, on Saturday. That's right. Let's
get your match prediction, Matt.
Put me on the spot. I think we might scrape a 1-1 if we're lucky.
Let me ask the boys on the sofa, Paul. Luton on Saturday, how do you think it's going to go?
Either 1-0 Luton or it'll be 1-0. It'll be quite tight.
A very tight game, Stephen. Is that how you see it?
2-1 to the Orient. 1-0 down at half-time, 2-1 final score.
Stephen saying 2-1 to the Orient final score. So do you think he might get his first win, Matt?
I'd love to see him do it. We'd all love to see him do it. But whether or not in reality that actually checks out as 3 points on Saturday, I really don't know.
Matt, it's getting darker and darker in the car park now.
It is. It's actually quite frightening. I've been an Orient fan. I'm actually right by the River Thames, and the way we're going at the moment, I'm thinking of tucking myself in.
He's right by the River Thames. He's not going to give us his exact location.
Oh, no.
Matt,
definitely not. No, secret agent. I don't need to know basis.
Matt, just tell us quickly, what type of car are you currently sitting in?
I'm sitting in a bright red Ferrari for any young ladies that seem to be
Just remind us all, Matt, is it 1 flash for yes, 2 for no?
Oh yeah, free flashes. We get to free flashes. You don't know what happens.
Give him a big hand, Matt. Thank you so much. I want to see you on the show. Paul, Stephen, brilliant to have you with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Please come back on.